Hey, love, my name is Brittany Pollard, and you are now rocking with the Everyday Intentions podcast, your source for real conversation centered around stepping into your personal power, one intention at a time. This podcast is all about owning our voice, taking up space, expressing ourselves, and moving through life at our own pace. You are invited to the magic, so let's roll. What is up, my people? Welcome back to another episode of the Everyday Intentions podcast. My name is Brittany Pollard, and I am the host of the show. And this podcast is all about reclaiming ourselves, reclaiming our spaces, our voices, and navigating the in-between stages of personal growth and transformation. So really looking at all of the intentional actions, all of the intentional thoughts, behaviors, all the things that we need to take in order to get to where we envision ourselves going. With this podcast, we also talk about spirituality, we talk about health and wellness, we talk about life in general, just a real deal approach to life. And we just use a lot of intentionality behind our moves. So I'm happy to say that I've just been really loving and appreciating all the reviews that have been popping up on the podcast. And I just want to just let you know, just open the door that if you feel like you really enjoy this show, or if you feel like, this show is something that could be shared with someone else and, you having a good time here, it's popping over here, then I would love for you to go ahead and leave a review and then also share it with someone who needs it and who could use the information. I've said this millions and millions of times on the show, but I'm just so big on community and being of service and spreading the word and providing healing. So anyway, in any capacity that we can do that for each other is always greatly appreciated. So I'm happy to be back with another episode. I told y'all my word for 2020 is consistency. And if you haven't heard the word that I picked this year, I encourage you to just go back one episode where I just talk about 2020 as the year of consistency. That's literally the name of the episode. So go ahead and listen into that, and then also just let me know what your word is. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Brittany Shanice. The links will be in the show notes, and I'm always just so down to just like connect and chat and talk with people when they shoot me DMs, and it's always super inspiring, especially when someone has a story of there's just them sharing something that they've overcome, or just even just someone choosing themselves for the first time. It's just such a big deal to me personally. I just absolutely love that. So I just thank you to the people who have already shared. And if you haven't, just know that that door is open for you. So, in thinking about this episode, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do next. And what kept coming through was just really talking about the energy of 2020. And by energy, I'm just going to share a side of myself that I don't think that I have shared publicly on the podcast. So this will be cool. But yeah, I think I've said this in the last episode, but 2020 is just it's just a magical year. It's a year full of opportunities for prosperity, for abundance, like for all the good stuff. And it's like it's out there, but it's up to us to plant the seeds, to be able to reap what we harvest. So, it's like we have to be the creators and the initiators of our lives, of what we want to create this year, because it's big energy around it happening. So this is why I started my workshop, Dare to Dream, which is a practical manifestation workshop. And it's really just to get people into this creative energy, this creative flow, to really get them to step into what it is they want to create, just because there is just so much energy this year backed behind like our goals and our wishes and our dreams. So definitely big energy in the air. And as far as what I haven't shared yet, I don't think I don't think I have shared this, but I actually read tarot cards, and it's not something that I do for other people. It's more so just for myself and to connect with my ancestors and my guides and just get information and direction from them. Sometimes they be checking the shit out of me, but it's just something that I personally do. And so with the tarot, just to explain it, it's a deck of 78 cards. And what these cards generally do is they provide options and they provide insights and they give you answers to very specific questions that you ask. So the way I use them is I'll hold the cards in my hand and then I'll ask a specific question like, dang, does macaroni and cheese sound good tonight? Or whatever your question is going to be, and then you shuffle the deck until the way I do it, people do it however they want to do it, but I tend to shuffle the cards and then I just wait for one to fly out. And so whatever the card is that flies out, it might be a card that is like, girl, you might want to leave that macaroni and cheese alone because you know that you lactose intolerant. It's gonna give you gas. Like, it don't say all that, but the energy of the card is like, that's a no. You need to pick a different choice. So that's generally how I use it. Like I said, people use it in various ways. Some people get like super serious with it. Some people are very serious with it as well, because it is just like another spiritual tool that people use to really share insight and information from the divine. So what also happens too is with the tarot, there's a card to represent each year. And so last year it was the energy of the Empress. And the Empress is like, I like to refer to the Empress as like Beyonce. She's like the mother of all things, the mother of the deck. She is the nurturer. She represents our divine feminine. And, regardless of what your gender is, there are masculine and feminine traits within all of us. She's the one she's a nurturer. She's sensual. She's like our creative parts, like those juicy parts. She's the pleasurable side of us. She is the one who represents connecting to nature. It's just like very, very loving, very compassionate, and very supportive. And like I said, nurturing energy. And I feel like it is why like 2019 was really, really tough for a lot of people. I feel like for a lot of people, it's very quiet and very internal, because so many people were learning a lot of deep stuff about themselves. People were like trying to heal left and right, and people were learning like what self-care truly is and how it's fucking hard. And people were learning to use their voices and advocate for themselves. And people were learning that, they got some fuck shit. They got some jacked up traits that they need to heal, or, childhood stuff would come up for people and they got to work on that and heal that. And so we were caused to really step in and be that mothering figure for ourselves, kind of like, like holding ourselves and just being like, it's okay. Like, I got you. Don't trip. So I feel like for a lot of people, that's where the growth was. I know that for me personally, that's where the growth was. It was a lot of internal growth. I didn't do a lot externally other than, travel and be with family and friends. But as far as, I built my own damn company within myself, all the healing and learning and growing that I did. So, so 2019 was the year of the Empress, and just like really uncovering all of the junk and just being like nurturing so that we can find the treasure within ourselves. So now in 2020, we got Jay-Z, we got Bey, we have the Emperor. And, like I said, whereas the Empress is like very nurturing, motherly figure, that's Beyonce to me. The Emperor is Pops. So that would be like our Jay-Z. And the Emperor is the father of the deck. So he has more of the masculine traits. And he represents structure and organization and, stepping into your power and taking up space and being like, yo, this is me. And, it's like pretty much everything that this podcast stands for is like really taking a stand for yourself and being a leader for yourself. And, just claiming your authority over your own space and just like really, really bossing up. He's all about confidence and protecting and providing. And what he's also about too is really getting clear on the vision of what it is that you want. And I thought this was so cool, y'all, because I did do a little research on the Emperor just so that I could understand him a little bit more. But I'm just like, the way this stuff comes together is just so freaking fascinating to me. Just to know, that Dare to Dream is falling in line with what 2020 is representing. It's just really, really cool to know that, it's a right on path. And so, it's about having a clear vision of what you want. And, like I've said on the podcast before, like standing your ground and not from a place of being cocky, but just like really, really knowing yourself. Just to put into context, let's say that you bought a house and you moved your family in, and when you move your family in, just depending on, it doesn't matter where you live, people have security cameras all over the place. So, you protecting your space, you installing security cams, you calling ADT to get your alarm system hooked up. You might have a little something in the closet just in case, but you are protecting your space. And you've also mapped out what your mortgage payments are going to be. Like you know what you want. You know that the improvements that you want to make, like your home. And so this is the same thing, when people come over and they like disrespecting your spot, then you got to get them out of there. You got to do what you got to do to get them out of there. And so this is what he is saying, like claiming your authority and being the leader and speaking up and saying, yo, this is my piece of the pie right here. And that could be a physical space, and that could be your physical body. I feel like this is a very physical body conversation that is coming through to me, just reclaiming agency over your own being. But I just wanted to give you guys that as an example, just to share. So I do want to say that in order to live in all that power and that confidence, like, you do need that structure in your life to support it. And that's another thing that the Emperor represents, is like really having, with that clear vision comes structure. And, having structure is what allows us to play a little more in our lives, to plan a little better so that we can have a good time. It's not from a place of like, being super duper strict about it, but from a place of really being intentional and being mindful and paying attention, just so that you know what to expect and you can take care of yourself and you can plan to the best of your abilities. 2020, this is the energy that we're in, and I can't express enough how important it is to just really envision what it is that you want. I would say also, depending on where you're at, just like start with 1 to 2 things and just create structures that support that vision and truly commit to them. Like, truly commit to the consistency of seeing those things out. So when you know that you're most likely to do it, and even if it's not like a everyday thing, but let's say you're like, I'm going to go to the gym on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And, on Saturday, I'm going to go run with the run club. That's what I'm going to do. As long as you do that and you stay consistent with it, you're creating a structure around it. And you're also nurturing yourself. And, especially if you do it with a group, it's fun. And then at the end of the day, it provides more fulfillment because this is something that you're doing for yourself. Or, even if you want to get more into public speaking, it could be just like hiring a coach and choosing to work with a coach once a week, whatever you can do, and then just practicing, committing to practicing maybe about 15 to 20 minutes on your own every single day. So I hope y'all see what I'm saying, but just like seeding that stuff into your calendar and creating a plan around it so that you know what to expect. And just knowing that life is going to hit and it's not going to be perfect, but as long as you keep coming back and don't stay wiped out, that's what you really want to do. Because the more that you do something, like when we continually do something and we continually create a pattern and a habit, that's what allows us to build the confidence within that thing. So it's a cycle that happens. So yes, the energy for 2020 is big, bold, confident, assertive, being the leader of yourself, of your space, having agency over your body, using your voice and calling people out when they say things that you don't necessarily agree with, and, just being very, just choosing to have a conversation with someone and just being like, yo, I need to share something that has like been bugging me, but I really need to say this. Like, can we have a conversation about it? And I know a lot of times that's easier said than done. But that's literally something that I had to do today. And it wasn't like a shining moment for me. It was actually very, very tough and very, very hard. But I needed this person to know that they, that just some stuff happened that for me, just didn't feel right. And, that person didn't even know that that was happening. But I felt like for me, I needed to share that. Just to create a boundary and just to share what's up. So yes, big Emperor energy popping this year. And on Friday, we also have a new moon in the sign of Cancer. And I feel like when I was like thinking of how to I'm working on how to like seed in more of like the mystical side of stuff that I'm into, because I'm all about the, where the divine meets like the practical, um, where the divine meets the everyday, where the divine meets the earth, all of those things. I'm very about like both sides. Um, so I knew that there was a new moon coming up and it was going to be on Friday, which will be tomorrow by the time this episode is out. And that's going to be in the sign of Cancer. And Cancer in the zodiac sign, it represents home. And this is just so funny how all this stuff lines up. But when we're talking about home, we are talking, it could be a physical home, but more so, the energy is more focused around our energetic body, like our like home, our energy, where we're spending all of our energy. And so with this new moon, what it's calling us and asking us to do is just really to pay attention to where we are spending our energy. Are we spending our energy in places with people, doing things that light us up, or are we spending our energy, just being in a lower vibration, dealing with fuck shit all the time, taking other people's stuff, taking other people's shit, it's like, where are we spending our energy? So a couple practices that I would just love to give you, and just, just general guidance I would love to give you, is just to really sit down and really write out fills, FILLS, on one side of the paper and empties on the other side of the paper. So it's kind of like your energetic body is kind of like a tank. So what is filling it up, and then what is also depleting it? And then just writing down those things that you're noticing on a daily basis, whether, it is the self-talk going on inside of yourself, where you feel like you spend a lot of energy kind of like negotiating with yourself, trying to like fit into a space that doesn't feel right, and trying to deal with other people's energy. Like, who are those people? And then I would also just like write out hobbies, like what fills you up, and then what empties you, what depletes you, and just really get super clear and super solid of that. I think that's a great step to start, because from that list already tells you like what you need to do more of and what you kind of need to start releasing. And the new moon is all about releasing and shedding and letting go of. And with this moon in particular, it is really, really focused on our energy. And I don't think that I said this earlier, but our emotions are as well, our emotional body. I think I said energetic body, but this moon is actually really, really focused on our emotional bodies as well. So, that just goes right back into that practice of fills and empties. Emotionally, what makes you feel full? Emotionally, what like truly, truly drains you and makes you feel sad and like depleted and all of those things. So when you make your list, like I said, you can pay attention to like what you can start to invite more of in your life, and then some things that you can start to release and let go of. And um, allow yourself to really be quiet and don't rush this process. Because with this, what you also want to do is really tune into your intuition, that gut feeling, that inner knowing, all of those things, to allow yourself to kind of like make those decisions. Don't just say like you like to battle rap just because your best friend does. Like, if you might like to attend the battle raps, or you might like to go sometimes, but if it don't really like fill you up to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, yes, I need that in my life, then kind of consider whether or not that needs to be on your paper. Just like get quiet and allow your intuition to speak through you, and allow yourself to be that filter for yourself. And I think that practice is a great starting point. And then with this moon also, and just our energy and just being mindful, really, really carry forward that nurturing side from 2019. So yes, we are standing in our power. We are being solid. We are making better decisions for ourselves, but the nurturing never ever ends. The nurturing is something that will always continue. And especially when it comes to our emotions, there's a lot of nurturing needed around emotions at this time. Because for a lot of us, and this is me included, we may have gotten by through life just fine, but there could be like a lot of repressed emotion in our system. And what generally happens with that is when people have repressed emotion, what they tend to do is they tend to seek out behaviors to try to like cover that up. Or, for a lot of people, it could be addictive behaviors. For some people, it could also be avoidance. For some people, it could also be just like going to sleep because they just literally like want to check out. It could be a lot of things. So I also want to invite you to just kind of sit and just like really tune into your body and just kind of feel into it. And it just doesn't, and this doesn't have to be this drawn out process, but if you could sit and just think about your body and just being like, dang, where am I holding all this stuff? Where am I holding all of this stress? Where am I holding all of this grief, all of this sadness, all of this repression? Like, where is this being stored in my body? And then also, inviting in that list that you made of things that fill you up to kind of use those as a means of expression to start to release. And I know that, people are like, oh, just cry it out. And like, yeah, sometimes that's helpful, but I know that I'm not like a big crier unless I'm pissed off or like truly hurt. So that doesn't work for me, but it's like this for me is very healing. This for me is very cathartic because it is like after so years of being shushed to be quiet and silent, like now I'm speaking and talking about healing and growth. And this for me personally fills me up. So really, really being nurturing to yourself, really paying attention to your emotions. It is 2020, y'all. We got to stop hiding our emotions and pretending like they don't affect our bodies physically, like they don't affect our mental health, like they don't affect us spiritually. We have to like really start being honest about our emotions and really, really become our own advocates. So stepping into that power source and being, an agent for ourselves. And that shit is hard. It's hard as fuck. I know because I'm going through it right now. But it's so necessary to stand up for yourself, because if you don't stand up for yourself, nobody will. And nobody's going to know the true you. Nobody's truly going to know your heart. And you're going to be holding all this stuff into your body. And, I don't want to speak this over anyone, but, when we hold things in, that affects us physically. People are more prone to illness. People are more prone to injury. People are more prone to a lot of things. And sometimes it can come down to the fact that they just didn't tell so-and-so, what was bothering them. They let that shit build up for years and years and years and years and years. So take care of yourself, please. And even if it's not something that you share with someone, just the fact that you're choosing to sit with emotions and you're choosing to nurture them. And, let's say, you feel like someone doesn't like you, or you feel like someone makes you feel inadequate. Those are very valid feelings. Make your feelings valid, nurture your feelings, and create ways to process and move them. It's what I'm getting. Because when you move them, you make space for the creation. You make space for the things that make you vibrate higher. You make space for blessings. You make space for opportunities. You make space for all of the abundance and all the things that I talked about at the top of the episode. It's like we have to release this stuff to make space for the goodness to come into our systems. And if we are just like continually holding on to stuff, it's like nothing else can get in because it has nowhere else to go. So that's all I wanted to cover with this episode. I just really wanted to talk to you guys about the energy of 2020. I wanted to talk to you about the moon happening tomorrow, and I just wanted to just give you a heads up on some practices that you can do to really just start taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself. And I just want you to know also that, as you step up and grow and evolve, it's going to be tough, but you'll be okay. You'll be fine. And at the end of the day, it just weeds out. It just creates clarity in your system when you do choose yourself. So 2020 is the year of really choosing yourself and stepping into your power. And I'm just so excited to see people do that. I've just had the pleasure of sharing so many wild stories of people doing awesome and amazing things and overcoming fears and just saying you know what, I'm not holding back no more. And just the response that happens when they do that, and how much of a relief it is. Even if it's scary, it's just a relief to finally let something off of your heart, and just being this is me, this is who I am. That, it's just a beautiful transfer to watch. So yes, I encourage y'all to take care of yourselves. I do have a few spots left for Dare to Dream. I think I have 3 spots, so they went by pretty fast with what I had to offer. So if you are interested in coming, if you really want to affirm your big bold dream for 2020, if you want a supportive community, if you want to be seen and heard, if you want to participate in a sound healing meditation, if you want to create intentional action plans, come through. The group of people who are coming is just so good. I couldn't have asked for a better group of people. It's just gonna be so fucking lit. And I'm so excited for it. So just know that you can go to BrittanyPollard.com/dare to dream, DARTODREAM, and we will be there in a few weeks. So sending you love, sending you blessings, sending you prayer. Until next time, take care.